Good morning. Friday, April 10th, 2020. It's Good Friday. It's looking like a good day to make some Easter kielbasa. Be stuffing it later. Took some time yesterday. Froze some meat after cutting it up and discarding some of the crap that's in there. You know, keep the fats and things like that, but get rid of any undesirables. For the leaner cuts, I use the 3/8 or 10 millimeter plate. For the finer cuts and the fat, I use the little guys, probably about an 1/8 inch diameter. Kept all the parts nice and cold. Kept all the meat nearly frozen. I've got 20 pounds here, 10 pounds there. The 10 pounds is going to get about 440 grams of mild cheddar cheese. That 10-pound mix has also got about 6 large jalapenos that were ground in a food processor, seeds and all. Give it a little bite. We'll be stuffing them up, bringing them out yonder, outside. Cheddar cheese smokies. And this one will be the regular Easter kielbasa. Okay, so something I failed to note, obviously the mix is already there. The meat's been ground. All the spices have been added. It's had a chance to sit in the fridge overnight, ice cold, kind of let all those flavors come together. I'll give you the list of what's in there as far as ingredients go afterwards. But when it comes to the cheddar cheese smokies, you don't want to put the cheese in too soon. During all that mixing and whatnot, you're trying to get it to a certain consistency, but you'll really mash up that cheese if you put it in too early. That's why it's shredded now and waiting to get kind of folded into this 10-pound batch. So I'll go ahead and mix that up and show you what it looks like and get it back in the fridge while we get set up for stuffing, which is always fun. Not a bad thing on a Friday though when you're on vacation, so we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so there it is. It's all incorporated with that cheddar cheese. Like I said, it was like 400 and some odd grams, 420, a couple of blocks that I shredded up and incorporated like I said I would. Just something I want to note regarding the Himalayan pink salt and pink curing salt, okay? Those are by far not the same. They're not remotely close. The Himalayan salt comes from the mountains in Pakistan, as I recall. This here, I don't know where it comes from, but I know one thing. If you use it to excess, it can be fatal to humans. So 1 gram per pound of meat is all you ever want to use for that stuff. I mean, they give you instructions on the packages, but I would say err on the side of caution and don't go anything more than 1 gram per pound when it comes to that. I've got it marked on the package. It's pink intentionally, so people don't grab it and use it as their condiment for their food and end up wiping themselves out. The reason I use it is because I'll be smoking at a low and slow temperature, and that's to help prevent any issues as far as bacteria goes. It's a curing salt. It's not for long term. It's good for what we're doing here with sausages. Okay, so just be careful if you're using that. It can be dangerous to you. Okay, I'm going to be moving on to the stuffing stage, but in the meantime, I'll put up the formula that I used for the kielbasa. The initial stuff is all for the 30 pounds in total. I did reduce the amount of garlic for the cheddar and cheese jalapeno smokies, just to differentiate a little bit. I mean, this is a formula, so if it's good, you can be consistent and make it the same every single time. Use grams, don't use teaspoons or tablespoons or whatever. This is much more precise. So stick with those, and you can be consistent anyway. A lot of the ones I read and watched were calling for like 80 grams of salt. I backed it down to 70 just because I was using the cure. So it still totals out at that 80. Hopefully it's not salty. Like I said, it's a formula, so it can be adjusted to how it is that you like your sausage or your kielbasa. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for a moment or two. let you look at it, copy it, do what you got to do. So hopefully you've had time to copy these, and I'll get done jawing. And next time you see me, we should be stuffing. Okay, well, I'm waiting for the other instruments to cool down a bit. That's a stuffer tube, pot that holds the meat. Cleaned up the smoker. That's what we're using. It's a Masterbuilt Pro. It's got racks you can use if you're doing like briskets or pork shoulders or something like that. But you can also go ahead and make yourself some dowels that run across, which is what I'm using to be able to hang the sausage or the kielbasa, as you would. I'll be using quality hardwood pellet, as well as that amazing smoker tool, which is fantastic. I'll go with very minimal heat with the propane inside the box while it's doing its smoking, probably 3-4 hours of smoke. I'll maintain some heat, nothing more than $1, $1.20-ish. Once I've got enough smoke on there, then I'll kind of bump the heat up a bit until I can get the sausage up to about 150, 152-ish. And they'll go into the poaching bath after that. So that's what we're using. Quality hardwood, smoker tube, and smoker. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, time for stuffing. I like to take and ball it up a bit, possible, in here, otherwise you get that in your casings and you just gotta prick it out as it is. So I formed them into little balls. This may be excessive. I'll get rid of some of that. Still excessive. That's stuffed. Get back to when we start stuffing casings. Might as well let you feel a little bit of our pain. These tubes are, it appears easier than the other ones. I mean, I guess we'll find out. This is our first time using them. So it's a plastic tube that the casing's already pre-installed on, and all you have to do is slide it over your horn, get it all the way onto your horn, and then pull the plastic tube out, and it's mounted for you. I guess it is what it is. I mean, this is the first time, so we're giving it a whirl. See how it goes. Alright, so that didn't take quite as long as I thought it would. It's probably 5 minutes. That was a moment of truth. We'll see if the plastic tube comes out without ripping everything else off. Look at that. Yeah, not bad. I'll buy those again. Well worth it. LEM product. These are 35mm casings for kielbasa. I'm not doing little breakfast sausages. We'll be back. We'll start stuffing in a moment. Okay, into the stuffing we go. Nice controlled turns on your stuffer. You want to keep some pressure on the casing. You don't want to overstuff it though, right, Sally?
Mm-hmm. Don't want to understuff it either.
Correct. Having a little bit of moisture on your tray is a good thing because it kind of helps you spin. Looks like you're getting a little heavy there.
Okay, hold on. I just gotta pop a little air bubble. Okay.
Give that a little twirl. Let the sausage kind of wrap it. We're getting close. It's almost 5 pounds worth here. I'm down toward the bottom. And you're never going to get it all out anyway. I mean, obviously, there's a portion down there below where it's going to be able to get pressed out as it is. I think I'm coming close to that point now. And I am. So now you just kind of want to feed it off a little bit. leave yourself a tag end that you can kind of tie off. Go ahead and pinch it off, pull it out, cut it off. Alright, so that's about 5 pounds. We got another bunch of those to go. Alright, we'll see you when we're done. We'll start making some links. Okay, here we go. So, as I'm sure happens on many of occasion, you might get a blowout. I was either cranking too hard, or it is what it is. The casing wasn't sliding off, so it blew out a chunk of meat. No big deal. It's not the end of the world. Stop. Okay, pinch off the excess meat that was coming out. Make yourself a new little tag end. Toss that aside. Carry on. It's not the end of the world. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Okay, there's 30 pounds of sausage. These top ones are the Cheddar Jalapeno. You can see the cheese there and the green from the jalapeno too. The green not so much here, but alright. Be making them into links and smoking them next. Okay, there's 30 pounds of kielbasa in that tub. Plus or minus half a pound or so. So what we learned this time, and we won't do it again for sure, you saw us kind of, as we were filling the casings, we were spiraling them up. Spiraling, taking that whole thing, setting it aside. When it came to tying off these links, what a freaking pain in the butt that was. It took forever. So in the future, we will crank out the amount that we want, we'll loop it around, and we'll tie it off and continue on and do it that way, because in links or in those coils, it was just a total pain in the butt. Never ever again. The old wife is crafty and she got it done, but it took us a lot longer than it would have the other way. So lesson learned. In the future, we will roll out the length that we want, we'll tie it off, we'll make it into the length that we want, and move on. There'll be none of this. This was way too much work, a pain in the ass. She's a saint. Alright, so when you see it next, it's going to be heading into the smoker under just light heat to dry them off and get a pellicle on the skin to accept the smoke. So that's the next step. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, there they are. They've all been needled. Get any air out of them, any little air pockets you might see. Kind of hard to see in this light, but these guys here, when you shred the cheese or grate the cheese, use the large grate. You really see the chunks in and around it. It's good distribution. These are going to be pretty awesome, I think. Okay, they're into the smoker now. It's 30 pounds. I actually went out and bought more dowel stock, thinking I had too many, or not enough, I'm sorry. Now I have too many. It actually worked with the ones I had, with the exception of one extra one. So I put 2 full lengths. All I needed was a half a length, but it is what it is. So they're in there now. They're going to be drying off. The cheesy guys are on the top, and the other guys, the traditional kielbasa, are on the bottom. Nobody's touching. Right now it's very low heat. It's just going to let them dry up, get the pellicle developed, and then I'll fire up that amazing smoker tube on the bottom and let them go from there. See you in a bit. Okay, we've dried up. Now the amazing smoker tube is starting to do its thing. What you've got to do is you fill it with pellets. You ignite it. You got to use a torch to do it. You're not going to do it with a lighter or matches. Let it burn for a minute or two with a flame, you know, outside, away from what you're doing there. And blow it out. Let it do its thing. It's supposed to go for 4 hours, they claim, and in my past experience it's been pretty consistent. It's even gone longer at times. So there we go. Cherry pellets, kielbasa, on its way. We'll see later on when we pull it, when it gets to final temp, or 152 anyway, before I poach it. And should be good. See you then. Okay, it's been about an hour of smoke. I'm going to take and rotate those. Keep on going from there. Temperature is about, I'd say it's in the low 40s right now. I'm trying to keep it at like 150 for the cooking temperature, just until I'm done smoking, so I get the right color. So I smoked it, I want it probably 2, maybe 3 hours. We'll see what it is, or more. Then I'll kind of bump the heat up. I'll check them with probes until I get it to 150, 152 before I do the poach. So I didn't wait for them to get to 152. It was going to take too long. You can kind of see here how the skin's a little bit crinkly. If that's what you want, it's wrinkly, crinkly sausage or sausage with wrinkles, and feel free. What we're going to do though is poach them. You'll see the difference afterwards, what the poaching does. So they're only at like 125, 130 degrees. I'm going to let them finish in the water until they get to that 160, and I'm going to take them out and plunge them into a ice bath to stop the cooking process. Then hang them, let them bloom. They'll get their color back. They'll be no longer wrinkly sausage and fit to enjoy. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, she's a beeping. You're gonna come out of there, go into this now just cold water. The ice was already taken by all of these guys here, but off that goes. You notice they lost a lot of their color. After they bloom, that color is going to come back. See, they're not going to be wrinkly and crinkly. You can kind of see already that the skin is plumped. It's no longer wrinkly and ugly looking. 161. The cheese is still intact. You can see the jalapenos, the cheese in there, big chunks of it. Cooling down they go. Stop that cooking process. So I'm happy I can see that the cheese held up. Which is good. Shred it big when you're going to do it. Watch those temperatures. After this, they're going to go back in the poles they were hanging on in the smoker and just kind of hang out and dry off and finish blooming, and their color will come back. You can kind of see already. I probably should have taken a shot before, but these are already starting to redden a bit. When they first came out, they were a little pale, but alright, see you in a bit. Okay, here is the jalapeno and cheddars, just out of the ice bath or the cold water. I ran cold water on it for multiple minutes. You can see that they're light in color right now as compared to their little buddies who've already been out. Starting to come back, blooming them. It's bringing that red back to them. I'll give you one more shot of these once they've dried up and bloomed a bit before we hang them. And I put a long hard day to rest. Okay folks, this is a wrap. That's it started off as 30 pounds of kielbasa, but I may or may not have eaten a link that I sliced up earlier. Cheddar and jalapeno is very good, by the way. So you can see the colors come back after poaching. When they come out, they kind of look a little lighter than they were. This is a cheddar jalapeno here that I'm about to cut into. We'll see what we get. Alrighty. You can tell the detail from where we're at right here. Forget the camera. It's got a good texture to it. You can See the cheese. Again, that's a result of shredding it with a coarse shredder, leaving big chunks of the jalapeno all throughout. It's got a good texture, fantastic flavor. Like I said, I've already tried one. But one of the videos I watched, and actually a couple of them, they use like a soy protein or something like that mixed in with the meat to help it bind. But first of all, with this Corona thing, there's a lot of things out there that you can't find. That protein and non-fat powdered milk, I couldn't get a hold of, so I winged it and went without it. But honestly, I don't think you need it. You know, still plenty of juice there. Say the cheese. It's good stuff. Give it a try. Take your time, follow the directions, and enjoy.